You're scrolling through NASCAR headlines on a quiet Tuesday night, half paying attention, when one line stops your thumb cold. It's not a crash, it's not a bad finish, it's a single sentence buried inside a routine insider update. And once you read it, you can't stop rereading it. Nobody official has explained what it really means yet. The report is small. The implications are not. And by the time you finish the paragraph, you already know you're going to be thinking about this one for days. For most of his time at 23XI Racing, conversations about Bubba Wallace have centered on one thing: results. Playoff pushes, week-to-week finishes, whether the number 23 car could close the gap on the sport's elite. That's the old normal. This story is different. It didn't start with a wreck or a missed cut line. It started with a quiet reporting update about 2027, and it landed at the exact moment Wallace's on-track numbers were heading in the wrong direction. Wallace has been the face of the number 23 car since 23XI Racing's launch in 2021, delivering the team's first ever win at Talladega, and signing a multi-year extension in September 2024, after a season he himself described as one where he got my ass kicked the last 2 seasons, plain and simple. He arrived at 2026 talking about being hungrier and more competitive than ever. For fans who followed that arc for 5 seasons, the question underneath this update isn't about one race. It's about whether something inside the organization is quietly shifting heading into 2027. Here's what's actually happening on the racetrack. Wallace opened 2026 with momentum, but form collapsed as the season progressed. As of June 2026, Wallace had posted 338 points, 6 top 10 finishes, and only 1 top 5 across the season, with an average finishing position of 18.429. Over his last 6 races at that point, he ranked 29th in the field with an average finish of 22.2, including a 4-race stretch where he finished 20th or worse in 3 of them, totaling just 34 points. He's also carrying 12 DNFs dating back to last season. Most recently, Wallace sits 13th in the Cup Series standings, holding a 69-point cushion above the chase cut line. Safe, but no longer comfortable. Now compare that to his own teammate. Tyler Reddick opened 2026 by winning each of the season's first 3 races, becoming the first driver to do that since Dale Earnhardt Sr. in 1987. He went on to win the Daytona 500 and 5 of the season's first 9 races. On April 26, 2026, Reddick signed a multi-year extension to stay at 23XI Racing, and by late May he held a 122-point lead in the championship standings. Reddick himself put it plainly. "It's way better than being down 100-something points to first," he said. "It's a great spot to be in. Naturally, our confidence is in a really good place." By the season's halfway point at Sonoma, Denny Hamlin had closed that gap and passed him by a single point. But the larger picture hadn't changed. One 23XI driver was rewriting NASCAR history. The other was fighting to stay above the bubble. There's a layer to this that makes it more complicated than a simple decline versus dominance story. Wallace and Reddick have raced as teammates since 2023, and their relationship on track has repeatedly shown up in how they race for each other, not against each other. At Kansas Speedway in April 2026, during the overtime restart that sealed Reddick's 5th win of the season, Wallace, running behind him, described exactly what he was trying to do to help. "Oh yeah, I'm like the 11. Run the 45 up. Let me sneak through and do that," Wallace said. "I definitely did. And then I thought we were going to be able to capitalize, but it wasn't meant to be." Reddick, reflecting on his own historic start, called the Earnhardt comparison hard to process in real time. "I mean, that's a guy on the Mount Rushmore of NASCAR drivers," he said. 1987 was the last time that happened? I mean, that was generations ago. None of that reads like a locker room drifting apart. It reads like 2 teammates still pulling for each other on the racetrack, which is exactly why the quiet business side reporting about a 3rd car lands so differently than it would for a team with visible tension. Then came the update that reframed everything. Reporting from Bob Pockrass of Fox Sports indicated Wallace is expected to return in the number 23 car for 23XI Racing in 2027, which sounds like reassurance on the surface. But the same reporting placed him alongside 2 teammates, not one, Tyler Reddick and development driver Corey Heim, suggesting 23XI is preparing to field a 3rd full-time entry. No formal contract extension for Wallace has been announced. Denny Hamlin, co-owner of the team, has said publicly that questions about drivers' futures are something he isn't focused on right this second. Meanwhile, fans dissecting the reporting have started asking a simple question. Why would a two-car championship organization suddenly need a third seat at the exact moment its second driver is having his worst statistical stretch since joining the team? That question sits underneath everything 23XI Racing does for the rest of 2026. Reddick has already proven the equipment can win a championship. The extension, the win total, the history-making start all confirm it. Heim's expected arrival adds a third data point nobody was talking about 6 months ago. And Wallace, with a 69-point cushion and a stretch of races that dropped him to 29th in average finish, is the only variable in the equation that's moving in the wrong direction. Nothing here confirms he's losing his seat, but nothing here rules it out either, and that's exactly the gap fans are filling in on their own. Before we go further, if you're new here, this is NASCAR Trackline TV, and we're closing in on 500 subscribers. If breakdowns like this are the kind of NASCAR coverage you want more of, hit subscribe, drop a like, and leave a comment with where you land on this story. It genuinely helps the channel grow. Now, back into it. So what are fans actually speculating? The theory goes like this. A third car signals 23XI is hedging, that Wallace's production no longer matches a two-car championship operation, and that a rebuilt lineup for 2027 could eventually squeeze him out entirely. That theory deserves a clear check against what's actually confirmed. Bob Pockrass reported he would expect him back in 2027. That is a direct, on-record insider statement, not speculation. There is no report from Pockrass or any other credentialed NASCAR insider indicating Wallace is being pushed out or that his seat is in jeopardy. What's confirmed is narrower than the theory. Wallace's contract has not been publicly extended. A third car appears to be coming, and his 2026 form has declined. Everything beyond that, motive, intent, timeline, is fan interpretation, not reporting. So where does that leave it? On one side, a driver with a 69-point playoff cushion, a team expanding to 3 cars, and no confirmed extension on the books. On the other, direct insider reporting saying he's expected to stay, from a source with a track record of accurate 23XI coverage. Wallace hasn't addressed the Heim reporting directly. Is this simply a team growing its program around a generational teammate, or is it the first quiet signal of a bigger shift at 23XI? Tell us which side you land on in the comments. And share this video with a fellow NASCAR fan who's been watching this story too. Reddick's championship run isn't slowing down. Hamlin is now breathing down his neck for the points lead, and Heim's expected arrival could reshape the whole 23XI lineup before 2027 even starts. We'll be tracking every update as it comes. If you enjoy real NASCAR breakdowns like this, you'll like what's coming next.